Hi everyone, my name is Oliver. I work at Simply for Strings, based in Brisbane, Australia. We're going to be talking today about how to tune your violin. Just before we get started, I will mention that if you've just changed your strings or you're changing your strings and will then be tuning your violin, I'd recommend watching our how to change your strings video and how to clean your instrument, as it's quite important that you clean your instrument when you change your strings and give it a new lease of life. This video is applicable to cellos and violas as well, as the tuning mechanisms on those instruments are very similar, near enough exactly the same to the violin. You'll need a couple of things to get started. One of them will be something to tune your instrument to. For example, an electronic tuner or maybe a tuning fork. A tuning fork will look like this, and it's something you have to bang, and it'll give you the note, usually of the A at 440 Hertz. The other thing you may use is an electronic tuner. This is a clip-on one. This is a Planet Waves one that we sell here at Simply for Strings, and it clips on at the end of the head scroll just here. It looks like that. The other one you may use is another electronic tuner that sits on the table and picks up the sound of your instrument using a microphone that's built in. I'm going to be using the clip-on electronic tuner today, but I'll also explain how to use that one as well and some tricks when using that. To get started, I've strung the violin up and it's not in tune, but the strings are got some slight bit of tension on them just so the bridge can stand up. Something you need to look at before you start tuning your instrument is to make sure the bridge is dead straight down the middle of the instrument. It should sit where these F holes are. There's a little lines cut out on either side. That's where the bridge should sit, in the middle of that. You want it dead straight, really perpendicular. You don't want it leaning forward or backwards, and you want the feet of the bridge flush on the body. Once you've got that, the only other thing you may want it to check is that the fine tuners are not all the way down and not all the way up, kind of in the middle. That way you have leeway to go up and down when you're fine tuning the instrument. So to get started, I'll use the clip-on tuner. So I pop it on the end here, turn it on. Now it's very simple. For me, I just have to pluck the instrument and it tells me the note that I'm playing. So I know that this string needs to be the G string. So I need to tune this up to a G. It's telling me I'm at C now. To do that, I'll have to turn these pegs here. Each peg is for a different string. This peg here is for the G string. Now, the only tip I would give is go very slowly when you do it. The quicker you do it, the more likely you are to snap your string. So, that's about right. Then I'll go to the D string and do the same. Now the A string. Now the E. Now it's not perfectly in tune, it's roughly in tune. I haven't done it precisely. I'll use the fine tuners to do that. One thing you may have noticed, that as you tune the instrument, you may have done it quite precisely with the pegs, but now when you go back and do it again, it's out of tune already. That's because as you tune it, the strings will pull the bridge forward and backwards and move it slightly, which knocks the instrument out of tune. So again, I'm just going to make sure this bridge is nice and dead straight. You can pull it a little bit, that's nice and flat. And then I'll just go through and fine tune it using these. Turning it down tightens the string, which ups the pitch. Screwing it out lowers the pitch. And that's gone down. Now the instrument's in tune, and that's using an electronic tuner. They're very easy to use, and I'd probably recommend it if you're starting out to use an electronic tuner. It would be very much the same as this. I just turn this one on, it gives me a reading, and then when I pluck the string, it'll tell me if I'm in tune or not. Slightly flat, bang on now. Just a different way of doing it. The other way would be with the tuning fork. Now, the trick with this is much harder. You have to do it by ear, and it only gives you one string, and you'd have to go through and tune the others. That's a good way of getting the note and letting it really ring out. The other way is just hitting it and putting it right next to your ear. Now, the note it gives you is the A, but seeing as I've already done it, you then have to go through and tune all the other strings using that A string. But that's complicated, and as I said, I recommend using the electronic tuners. A couple of problems you may run into is the peg slipping. When you tune the instrument and you turn the peg, it'll bring the up to tension. When you let go, sometimes the peg will unwind, and it will be very frustrating. So when you tune it and when you turn the peg, push the peg in to the peg hole, and it will keep it nice and stiff. If you're still having that problem, it may be that you have badly fitted pegs, and you might need to visit your local music shop and get them to sort that out for you. The only other thing I would probably mention is that sometimes the strings, when you put them in, can sometimes pop out if they don't fit in their fine tuners correctly. So sometimes putting a pencil in there and blocking it from coming out as you tune it can solve that problem as well. Apart from that, I think that's about it. Your instrument should be in tune, and keep practicing. Thanks, guys.